Hi y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Jacinda and this is my first video ever. So it's going to be a bit of a warm up and a learning experience for me. And also I think we should just make this kind of like an intro today. So a little bit about me. I have an incredibly creative spirit. And I am at a really good point in my life right now that I'm able to expand on that a bit. I'm about to be an empty nester, so like a lot of my interests, I think that I'm able right now to like focus on. I'm gonna need to focus on more, right? And so I think that I wanted to just kind of document my journey. So some of my interests. What are my interests? Well, I am known for my cake decorating, but also I like to do painting. I like to do sewing. I actually like to do like outdoor creative activities, like not only like the gardening part of it, but like landscape design type parts of it. Some basic carpentry I enjoy doing. Just anything that I can do where I create something from something else, I'm just fascinated with, right? And I also enjoy like learning new crafts, I guess you would call them. Like as a whole, we'll just call them crafts, right? So my newest found interest, and that's what kind of led me to say, I'm really gonna like start creating this content. I'll just share with you because it'll kind of show you how my brain thinks a little bit, just a little bit, but my brain's kind of scary sometimes. But so photography, that is my newfound interest, right? I want to get better at photography, and the sole reason or the main reason that got me here, I think, is because I'm planning a road trip in about a month, going out west. Right, we live right now like very south central United States, right? And so there's really not much. There's not much around here to explore. I enjoy hiking. I enjoy the outdoors, and you're just kind of limited here because, well, you know, it's here. We have some things to offer, okay? Just not what the West has to offer that I'm interested in seeing. And so I'm planning this road trip. In my planning process, because I always go through this process, I watch YouTube videos because I have no idea what's out in the world. And YouTube is like amazing, right? Like YouTube is amazing. And so I go to YouTube all the time. I mean, I learn things I want to, explore on YouTube. I watch YouTube for entertainment. Sometimes I will turn on YouTube just to hear people talk. I really do that. It's like, it is way too quiet in this house. We have to have some noise, and we'll just be like cleaning, and we'll just have like a video going. I don't even know what I'm watching. It doesn't even matter to me, but it's just like another human, and they're speaking. I guess that's how people are with watching TV, and I don't really watch TV. So I'll go on YouTube and I'll find things that like I want to see out west, or like things that places people have gone and things people have done. I'm really interested in the whole hiking aspect. I've never done backpacking, like overnight, where you take your backpack out when there's like no access to civilization and you don't have like your vehicle. You set out on a trail. You have a general idea of where you're going. You find a camping spot. You pitch your tent. You chill for the night. You wake up, and then like maybe you hike some more and do that again, or maybe you hike back to your car and call it a one day. I've never done that, and I want to do that. I'm going to do that, okay? So I think I'm going to start with a one day, but we can get into all that later. It's not what we're here for today. But I'm planning this and seeing all these things. And so I watch people and their journeys. and I see all their pictures that they are taking in their videos, and I'm like, it's so beautiful. Like, this world is so beautiful, and I want to be able to take those pictures. Like, whenever I go out there for my journey or my road trip, I want to find these places, which I'm very confident that I will be able to do, because of all the different navigation maps and apps that I have, and all the things. I'm pretty confident in that area, but I want to be able to capture what I see there, because this is like, the amount of time that I have off of work is not something that you just have all the time. I've been saving up my leave, and I have a 4-week leave window, and that doesn't happen. Like, how often are you gonna get that? Well, for sure, it takes a long time for that to build up. So maybe by next year I can have that window again if I take no more leave or whatever throughout the rest of the year, but that would kind of suck. But so this is a very small opportunity. I want to capture my experience the best I can, and I want to take some amazing pictures, right? That's, not too much to ask. I don't think that's too much to ask. And so I'm like, I think I can do that. Okay. My son, he is into photography. Like, he's starting to develop his interests and his skills and all that. So he let me take his senior pictures because he didn't want to take pictures. That's a thing, but it's okay. He let me take them so that he could edit them the way he wanted them done. And I respect that. And, I had no choice, because I'm not just going to take pictures of him if he doesn't want to, right? That would be no fun. So we went out and took these pictures. I knew nothing. Like, I literally didn't watch the first video on how to take pictures. And I just basically had his camera, started clicking buttons, because he would like set up some of them. And then I was like, oh, what does this do? And what does this do? So then I just started playing around with his camera. Right, poor thing. So he had probably not an easy time to edit his photos, but I think the photos that he chose to edit, I think they came out pretty good for his photographer being the worst. But so I recently have been watching videos and like tutorials on photography and how to what aperture is and what your y'all gonna have to bear with me because I'm telling you, I'm just learning these things, but the flash, the shutter speed, ISO, what that all is, because I'm like, what does this mean? Because he was given an extra camera of like an older camera someone had. They gave it to him and was like, you can have this. Not sure quite if it works well or not, but it for sure needs a battery. And so if you want it, you can have it. And so he has that camera, and he hadn't got a battery for it yet. And I asked him, I was like, when I go on my trip, can I take your camera? And he was like, no. I don't blame him, y'all. I'm not joking. I don't blame him. But I had to ask, okay? He's like, no, Mom, you're not taking my camera. But he said, maybe we can get this other camera working for you. So he said, and he told me about it and what it might need or whatever. So we ordered a battery. I actually think it's coming in today. So fingers crossed, right? That we'll put the battery in and the camera is going to work, right? So in the meantime, for the last few days, I've been watching videos and about photography and trying to learn this camera and, you know, what makes better shots and how these different settings for the aperture and the shutter speed and the ISO, you know, how they affect your picture, what they do for it, what's your best settings, or what should you like focus on whenever it comes to like landscape photography, because that's what I'm kind of interested in, is like taking the landscape pictures. So I've been learning about that, and I really want to learn about that. And then my brain. So we're still on my brain here. I go off track a lot. When I start talking, I just start talking. But so we're back to my brain. So my brain is having this idea. I'm gonna learn these things, and then I see this picture as, you know, I'm watching one of, you know, somebody's video. I don't know. I just watched so many of them, and so it's of this gorgeous mountain. Let me take a taste. Anyway, it's of this gorgeous mountain, and I love oil painting. I'm very into oil painting. Of course, I used to watch YouTube of the Bob Ross, amazing, I believe. And you know, that's how I got into oil painting, because I was like, I want to paint like Bob Ross. Okay, so fortunately, I was able to go get me some supplies, and I started, and I'm not that bad at it. I mean, like, you know, when you start something out, it's always like, well, that's not great. But my brain has the ability to see something like of what it's going to be whenever it's finished. I didn't actually know that not everyone's brain is capable of that, but mine is. Okay, I really thought everyone did that, but it's been explained to me very a few times actually. But it's been explained to me that people are not just like that. Like, not everybody can see things. You know, if they're looking at a blank sheet of paper and they just thought, oh, I want to paint a mountain, and so then it's like, in my brain, I see the mountain. I see texture, I see detail, I see color. It is such a clear picture. I know what my mountain's gonna be. I know where it sits on that piece of paper, and I know what I have to do to get it to be there, right? So it's just kind of like, you need to learn your technique to develop that. Not everyone has that. It's kind of sad, but I think people that don't have that could maybe use other things, like a picture of something, and be like, okay, well, I see this is this way. Well, maybe, you know, if they learn like the layering process and all, they could work through it, right? So I think everyone has the ability to learn different creative talents, I guess you would say, you know, or at least explore those for hobbies, you know, and just interest and fun. So that's how I started with painting, and then and I love doing mountains. I recently did my grandson's birthday cake, and it had like a scenery on the sides of it, of like mountains and stuff, and the way I did his mountains, of course, it was edible, so I used icing as my medium. And so, but the way I did them and how I textured them and like the coloring I used, and I loved those mountains, right? Like, I really loved those mountains on his cake. And so I'm like, this is how I want to do when I do my oil painting. This is kind of like the technique I want to use the next time I paint a mountain, okay? Now, naturally, I won't use icing, but you just have to find like different mediums. Like, where I might be using an oil painting, as long as I mix a different medium with it that might give me a texture that's compatible with the oil, you know, you can just make all these different things. You don't just have to use, here's a double oil paint. Sometimes you thin it out with a different type of oil. Sometimes you keep it thick, you know, like you can expand on all those things. And I've already got off track again, but photography, watching the videos, So I saw this painting of this, or this picture of this mountain, and I thought, what if I take this super amazing picture of this beautiful mountain, because I know I'm about to see so many beautiful mountains, and I do an oil painting of it, you know, and that's my brain, y'all. That's my brain. It's just constantly like takes an idea and then rolls through it, and then it's like, oh, but also this, and then it's like rolls through that idea, and it goes in. I think the more excited I get about a topic or a subject or, you know, whatever, the worse it is. And it's kind of scary, because sometimes I'm like, girl, you need to stop. You need to stop, quit thinking. You need to stop. It's enough. I have to tell myself that sometimes. It's really hard. But yeah, and so that's where I somehow, out of all of that, said, I want to document this whole journey, this whole like road trip journey. And then that turned into, you know what? I think I want to like start documenting like my whole creative side. And so, like I said, my brain, it just flows. It just keeps on, right? And so now I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, you're making your first video and this is happening. What are you going to focus on? Because I mean, if I just focus on the road trip, other than the planning part, there's nothing really to do right now, right? So, and you don't want to watch me, you know, learn about the different things, because that's really just watching me read and watching me watch something else, right? Who wants to do that? Nobody. But while I'm doing all my learning of the photography and all of that, I thought, well, maybe we could do like, what do I do? What do I know? What do I know well that we could start creating content? And that's cakes. Like, I know cakes. I used to do cakes as a side hustle. I did many cakes. I can't even tell you. I mean, it was a really good side hustle. I had to stop. I had to press pause, right? Because it got to where I had to, it was so good, I had to create a little business. So that it could be done properly, right? And so, but my little business really took off. It really took off, and that was such a blessing. But also I wasn't ready for it, and it just wasn't the right time. So it just wasn't the right time in my life. Like, you know, and some people were probably like, "What do you mean? Like, it was such a blessing, it took off. Why did you not keep up with that?" But I'm a single mom, and so it wasn't enough to be able to sustain our little life. And so we had to press pause, because I was up to doing like 3 or 4 cakes a weekend, every single weekend. And I didn't have time for my kids, and I didn't enjoy telling, you know, anyone like, no, I can't do your cake. I don't have time. Like, I had a problem with that. Like, I just couldn't. And so it became a bit overwhelming. And it really drew me away from my kids. And your kids are only little for so long, and that was not fair to them. So we pressed pause. You know, we came up with a decision, and I tried to just slow down, but then I started where I had the problem telling the people no. Yeah, I felt bad. And so I had to make it to where I don't feel comfortable telling, you know, Mary Jo no, but Bobby Sue is like, yeah, I'll do yours. I don't really know people by that name, by the way. But so I would just be like, I'm turning you both down. Turning you both down. I'm just stopping. I'm just stopping. I can't do this right now. This is really great. I appreciate every single human that I've ever made a cake for, but I just can't right now. So I get my cake kicks whenever it's like family birthday time or family wedding time, or you know, just holiday time where I could just bring this crazy cake, you know. So that's where I get my cake enjoyment now. But I thought, you know, maybe it's time that I share some of my knowledge with y'all. right? Because I have quite a bit of cake knowledge, and I think that would be a good place to start, right? Like, have this channel be about my creativity and things that I know and can teach some of you, but have like different series of it, like maybe a cake series, maybe a series of like some little sewing things that I enjoy doing, maybe a series of like some paintings that I enjoy creating, or some techniques, right? Maybe we can do a series on photography where we learn together. I think that would be fun. I do need an audience so that you guys can teach me for that. So that's not going to be a right away thing, but I think that would be really fun, because I think that this world and the people in it have so much knowledge, and I love learning those things. Like, I love learning. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've tried something and I have completely failed. Like, failed. Okay? So many times I have failed. But every single time I've learned a little bit. Like, even sometimes it's just a little bit like, girl, that did not work. Usually it's like, that did not work because you did this the wrong way, or because you did this and you should have done something else. And even though it makes for like a bump in the road of whatever project you're working on or whatever, it's like, I know I'm not gonna make that mistake again, because I just did it and I just saw the result. And the way my brain works is those things stick, right? Like, I can read something like an instruction manual, or maybe like whatever, and sometimes until I do it myself, I don't understand, you know? Or if like something's explained to me and it's not explained why this is done, it's like, I don't get it. But whenever I actually do it, it's like, yes, that makes sense. So usually whenever my mistakes happen, it's like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, so that's maybe where I would like for this channel to go, right? Like, maybe this channel, my creativity, branching off into some different like series of topics, right? I think I would like to start off with the first one being bacon, because that is the subject area that I know a great deal about, and I'm super confident that I can teach probably even a child on how to do some cakes, like really well, actually. So my idea for starting our first series is going to be, we're going to make a cake. Now, cakes and baking is a very scientific process, and you can like really do a deep dive into cakes and learn all the science behind it. There's a lot, y'all. There is so much, and I've done that, and that's probably why was able to develop a lot of my my little hacks, I guess you'd call them. A lot of my skill set, you know, it comes from that. But I can teach you super easy, and I don't want to make this like too complicated. And so because sometimes you just want to make a quick cake, right? And you don't want to go through the whole cake flour and beating all your egg whites, and you know, y'all, it can get extensive. You just want to be like, I want to make a cake today. So you go to the store, you buy that box cake mix. Y'all, don't let the people scare you about the box cake mix. It can be really good. I had been like, I want to make a cake, and I'm not going through all the rigmarole to make that fancy cake and all this stuff. We're just simply making a quick cake. I'm going to teach you, and I think that's going to be our first video, is I'm going to teach you how to take that box cake mix and make your people be like, wow, you made this? this is really good. And no one, and I mean no one, is going to be able to tell that that box is a box cake mix. And it's because we're not going to really follow those instructions. We're going to take those instructions and it's going to be like, okay, thanks for the suggestion. Sorry. Thanks for the suggestion. But then we're going to expand on it. And so, and it's going to be great. And so I think we'll do that, like we'll bake our cake, we'll mix it up, and that'll be our first little video. And then like I'll show you how I bake it, because that also plays into, I think, the part of like how my cakes are so moist and all that, how we store the cake and everything. And then we'll make like, the next time we do a video, it'll be like, okay, now we're gonna decorate our cake. So now we're gonna make our icing, and we're gonna apply it to the cake, and this is the method we're gonna use. We'll make a stacked cake so you can see how I do for that. We might even make a filled cake so that we can expand on the stacked cake thing, because there is some differences and some things you have to kind of keep in mind. And I think like the whole time that we're doing this, I could just be like, this is my trick for this. This is what works for this. You might come into this issue, but this is how you fix that. You know, all those things. And then I think after it's iced, because there's a lot we can learn there, I think we could do like the fun part, the decorating part, you know, the creative part, right? Like there's a creativity in the baking and the crumb coating and the frosting and all that, but the decorating is where you can really express yourself. And it's super fun, and it doesn't have to be so complicated. Like you can make some really elegant, if you're going for that look, some really elegant, beautiful cakes without too much effort or skill set. Or you can make some like super cute, fun, like quirky cakes, you know? And so we can learn all that. And when it comes to decorating, oh my gosh, I've decorated so many cakes in so many different ways. And I have so many things I could teach and like also teach. Don't do this because this is not going to work. But yes, so many things that I could teach in that area. And so I think that, you know, that could also be another episode, I guess you call them. That's what I see them called when I watch videos, right? Another episode in that series, right? The cake decorating series, right? So it's springtime. Easter's around the corner. Don't know if you celebrate that, but regardless, it's spring, and spring and Easter, they go really well together when it comes to like decorating or creating different things, right? That whole vibe is there. And so maybe we could focus on that. It is very short time frame away, but you know, we can knock out that video. I think I'm gonna like get some better camera equipment and all that, but you know, for this purpose, I think we'll be able to do that. So I'll get all that stuff ready, and then we can start there. So yeah, that's kind of all I have for you today. And so if you're interested in doing the whole learning the cake thing and learning my secrets and taking that box cake mix, elevating it quite a bit, learning maybe how to decorate your Easter cake for your family gathering you're having in a couple weeks, I really just invite you to like this video, maybe subscribe so that you can get those notifications whenever I start to pop up those videos about the, you know, the decorating series. Maybe share with your friends, right? So big part of this for me is going to be having others come in and give their suggestions, because I definitely don't know everything, right? And I also believe that you guys have a lot to offer. You might have something that I do when I'm trying to teach something that you're like, hey, I've done this before and this worked really well for me. And I might be like, oh, I never thought of that. Let me try that. So I kind of want to learn also. Like, I don't want to just be like, this is what I know, do this. I want to learn on this, like that's why it's like a journey for me. Like I want to expand my creativity, and I am well aware there's so much knowledge out there for me to learn, and until I ask for it or until it's offered to me, then I'm just kind of like, I don't know. You know, some things you just don't know. You just don't even know that it's a thing that you should be asking for, and then someone tells you something and it's like, oh, okay. Anyway, I'm rambling again. So we're gonna stop here, I guess. Like I said, go ahead and subscribe so that you can get that notification whenever we start those cake decorating videos. And thank you if you've stayed this long. Thanks for watching. See you later.